Hey guys, Garlic here with another 2004scape video for you. In this video, we are going to go over the best in slot mage gear. You've obviously probably seen the melee one and the range one, so this will be the magic one to finish it all up for all the combat styles. I hope you guys enjoyed this one, hope you find it useful. Before we get started, I just want to say a big thank you. Recently, we did the 1.5k subscriber stream. We got all you guys to come and run nature runes for me. We managed to get up to 60 rune crafting from 53 in one stream. And then we had an awesome giveaway event. We did like a scavenger hunt and a bit more hide and seek. So congratulations to everyone that won something from that. Big thank you to everyone that ran for me. Big thank you to everyone that donated to the prize pool. And just big thank you to everyone that's been tuning into the streams and watching the videos. I appreciate you all. So thank you for that. But let's get into this gear guide. Once again, you know the format by now. We are going to go through each of the individual slots and go through sort of which items are currently in the game that are best to use, and then which items are going to be coming out in the future. Will they be good? Will they not be good? And, you know, which ones should you be able to pick yourself up? So we are going to start with the helmet slot, as always. And first of all, at the moment, if you're using mage, then you probably are going to have yourself a wizard hat. So there are wizard hats. There is a blue one and a black one. And you can buy these from Betty in Port Sarim. You can also buy the blue one from the Varrock Clothes store. They're 2 GP each. You can also get the black wizard hat as a drop from Dark Wizards and the blue wizard hat as a drop from normal wizards or imps. So that's how you can obtain them. And these are pretty basic, to be honest. They give a +2 magic attack and a +2 magic defense bonus. That is it. Nothing else. Bog standard, but, you know, better than wearing nothing, I guess. But these are kind of irrelevant already because you can actually get the gnome hats. So you've probably seen like the hats that look like wizard hats, but they come in a variety of different colors. And you can buy these from the Fine Fashions shop in the Grand Tree. These cost 160 GP each. And these just have a +3 in magic attack and defense bonuses. So it's a +1 over the normal wizard hats, and they're easy to get. You just need to be able to go into the Grand Tree and buy them. 160 GP, very easy to get hold of. So not really any reason why you'd be wanting to use a normal wizard hat if you can use the gnome one instead. So the gnome wizard hat, probably best in slot right now for magic. And then we move on to some future items that aren't quite in the game yet. But maybe you want to consider these in the future. So the next one I'm going to talk about is the Ghostly Hood. Now, this is obtained from the Curse of the Empty Lord mini quest, which you can do after starting Desert Treasure. So this wasn't added until July 2005. A bit of a wait for that one. They do look really cool. I really like how the Ghostly Robe set looks. Kind of makes you like translucent. But the problem with this is, again, it's basically got the same stats as the Gnome Wizard hat anyway. So again, just a +3 in attack and defense for the mage bonuses there. So I guess if you prefer the look of it over the wizard hats, then like, definitely, you know, nothing wrong with picking that up, but it's not going to be an improvement on the gear we already have in the game when it does get released. In a similar vein, but there is a small little sort of upgrade here to be had, is the miters. So the different god ones that you get from medium clue scrolls. These do give a +4 in attack and defense for magic, as well as a +5 prayer bonus, which is actually pretty nice. However, these weren't actually added until December 2006. So, I mean, they look cool, but by the time we actually get these items, there's going to be so many better options out there. So probably not going to see many people using them. I guess the +5 prayer bonus is like pretty big. So if you are trying to mage something, you know, that where you're praying melee against something, for example, like a Mito would be a good option for you. There's a +4 in the magic attack and defense, and the +5 prayer bonus will help you stay at those trips longer, use less prayer potions, etc., etc. So December 2006 for those. Not the best option, but maybe can be considered if you are using prayer whilst training whatever you're training on. However, we can see the addition of the Mystic hats in January 2005. This is obviously a big iconic item, and you can buy these from the shop in the Wizards Guild for 15k GP. That is for the normal blue one, but we also get the light and the dark mystic hats added at the same time. They all got released together, and this I believe was with the Slayer update. So you could get the light mystic hat as a drop from basilisks, and you can get a dark mystic hat as a drop from infernal mages in the Slayer Tower. So this is quite a cool item. It gives a +4 in magic attack and defense bonuses, but it doesn't have that prayer bonus that the Mitre does. So it's a little bit better than the Ghostly Hood and the Gnome Wizard hat. but not really by very much. And it's actually worse than the miters because there's no prayer bonus. But I mean, it's a hat. And you can like match it with the rest of the Mystic robes. It looks really weird. I'm not sure what they were going for with the design on this, but I'm sure you all know about the Mystic hat. I'm kind of looking forward to getting a set of these. It does kind of look a little ridiculous when you see everyone wearing the full set, because I feel like the robe top and the robe bottoms look like pretty cool, and then the hat is just like a massive phallic shaped object on top of your head. But there you go, plus 4/4 in magic, attack, and defense bonuses. Nothing else to be spoken about there. And then in February of 2006, we do get the Enchanted Hat, which is just obtained from hard clue scrolls. Now, this is exactly the same stats as a Mystic Hat. It just looks a lot cooler, in my opinion. I really do like the look of the Enchanted robe set. I think they're super cool. But again, February 2006, there's going to be better options out by the time this gets added into the game. But it is going to be kind of a flex item, you know, a clue scroll reward, and I think it looks super cool. So I would probably choose the Enchanted Hat instead of the Mystic Hat if I was having to pick which one to wear. But yeah, no real difference at all other than how you obtain them. And Mystic Hat's obviously a lot easier to get hold of. Moving on from that, though, we have the Skeletal Helm. Now, the Skeletal Helm was added in August 2005, and it can be obtained by bringing 1 Dagganoth hide, 1 skull piece, and 5 KGP to Pier the Seer in Relica. And the skull pieces you can obtain from killing the Wallasalkis. I don't know if I'm saying that right. The little, like, walrus things that throw magic attacks at you. And this is an interesting one. So you have a +2 magic attack, you have a -2 ranged attack, you have a +3 magic defense, and a +0 ranged defense, but it does finally offer some melee defenses. I think this is the first mage helmet we've spoken about so far that has any melee defense. So you get a +10 stab defense, a +9 slash defense, and a +11 crush defense. So, you know, it's not bad. You are sacrificing some mage bonus there, but I mean, if you're like wanting to be a little bit more tanky against something that attacks with melee, then it might be a good option for you. I think the skeletal outfit does look pretty cool as well. So obviously, you know, you've got to factor in the fashionscape. And the magic boosts, yeah, basically not great, but defensive stats could be nice. It's kind of a trade-off depending on what you're going to be using that gear to do. After that, though, we have... Well, I say after that. Before that, chronologically, we have the Split Bark Helm. Now, the Split Bark Helm, again, I really like Split Bark. I think it looks really cool. But this was added in October of 2004, so it's not too far away, to be fair. This is basically the same as Skeletal Armor, but it gives an extra +1 magic attack. So you have the +3 magic attack on this one, and then all of the other stats, I believe, are exactly the same as the Skeletal Helm. So this one is a little bit better. And you can obtain these by bringing 2 bark, 2 fine cloth, and 6 KGP to Wizard Jalarast in the Wizard's Tower. And you can also craft it yourself if you have those materials, as well as a needle, some thread, and you will need level 61 crafting to do so. If you're wondering how to get hold of those things, you can get bark from cutting hollow trees in Mauritania, and the fine cloth is a reward from the Shades of Morton minigame. So that's how you get those materials. It's a little bit of a pain in the ass to like get hold of and make these, I think, but I'm kind of looking forward to seeing people running around in Split Bark. Split Bark actually did receive a graphical update in the same month it was released as well. So released in October 2004, and apparently I'll see if I can find a picture of it and put it up on the screen. But people said that it looked really lame, like it just didn't look like a powerful mage's armor. So they basically changed how it looked in the same month. So I don't know whether we'll see like the OG look of it, if it depends on when the update gets released. But Split Bark is going to be a pretty interesting one. Hardly ever used, I think, in old school, but it'd be interesting to see if people come up with some uses for it. Again, it's nice because you have some melee defense there, but obviously, like you are sacrificing a +1 mage bonus versus like the Mystic Hat or something like that. So I feel like maybe it would be worth the trade-off. You know, you lose 1 magic attack bonus, but you gain like some melee defense. So I would probably end up using that over the Mystic Hat personally. After that, though, we have the Lunar Helm. This one wasn't added until July 2006, so quite a way away, obviously, with the Lunar Diplomacy quest. It's basically a worse version of the Skeletal Helmet, but with an extra +1 magic attack. So it's basically got the same magic, it's got the same offensive styles as the Split Bark Helmet, but when it comes to defensive styles, it is just worse. So you've got like a +8 stab, a +7 slash, a +10 crush, and a +2 magic defense from this. Obviously, that's just worse on the whole. I'm not sure why you would use this. It looks kind of cool, I guess, but I don't really see myself using this one. That moves us on, though, to the Farseer Helm. A very, very interesting one. This was added in November 2004, so again, not too far away. And this one is the first one that gives us a much higher magic attack bonus. So this will give you a +6 magic attack and +6 magic defense as well. So it gives a +2 over Mystic. It does also give minus attack styles and everything else, but I mean, if you were just wearing it for mage, that doesn't really matter. But it does make up for that as well by having some decent defensive stats. I mean, it's still not quite as good as the split bark helmet, but you do get a +8 stab, a +10 slash, a +12 crush defense bonus. So there you go. You can buy these from Skullgrimmin for 78k, and it does require the Fremennik Trials quest. You can also, I think, get them as a drop from Dagonos, but it's quite rare. But the Farseer Helm, the Fremennik Helms are iconic. I really like the look of them all. The Farseer one with like the horn sticking, like curling upwards out the side of it. I think it looks super cool. Especially if you like pair it with like Aram's robes or something like that. I think it can look really nice. But yeah, a decent helm there, I would say, like a +6 on the magic, and then some melee defenses. So yeah, that is the Farseer Helm. After that, this one's kind of far into the future, but the Infinity Hat was added in January 2006 and can be obtained from the Magic Training Arena. Obviously, you have to do all the mini games in there, which can be a bit of a ball ache, to be honest. I'm not a big fan of the mini games, but you would need 350 telekinetic points, 400 alchemist points, 3,000 enchantment points, and 350 graveyard points to purchase the Infinity Hat. I think it looks super nice. I really do like the way the Infinity Robes look, and it gives a +6/6 in magic attack and magic defense bonuses. So it's basically the same as the Farseer Helm, but without any of the defensive stats. So not really any reason to use this other than just to flex because it looks super cool. It's also way harder to get hold of than a Farseer Helm, so I don't think we'll see much of this. On the old school wiki, it does say that it increases magic damage by 1%, but that was added in 2024, so that is not the case when it gets added in January 2006. And finally, that will bring us on to the Aram's Hood. I think you all knew where this one was going. We obviously have the Barrows sets added in May of 2005. Now, the Aram's Hood is the same as the Farseer Helm, but has better defensive bonuses. So you still get that +6 magic attack bonus, the same as the Farseer. You get a -2 ranged attack, and then the melee attack styles are just a +0, so you avoid some of the negative bonuses there. And then it has much better defensive stats here. So a +15 stab versus the +8 of the Farseer Helm, a +13 slash versus the +10 of the Farseer Helm, a +16 crush versus the +12 of the Farseer Helm. The +6 magic defense is the same, and no range defense at all from the Aram's Hood. And again, this one says it increases the magic damage by 1% on the old school wiki. That wasn't the case back in the day when it was added. That was a 2024 old school exclusive change. But yeah, the Aram's Hood looks super cool, looks very ominous. I remember as a kid seeing people wearing the full set of Aram's robes. I thought it looked really cool. And, you know, Barrows is fun content to do anyway. Obviously, if you're going to be using Mage to do Barrows before you get access to the hood, the Farseer Helm is probably going to be the one that you're going to want to use, and conveniently does come out before Barrows is added into the game. So I think the Farseer Helm probably takes it for the MVP here. Honorable mentions do go out to like the Mystic Hat, I guess, and Aram's Hood, obviously very nice. But currently at the moment, I think best in slot is going to be the Gnome Wizard Hat that you can get from the Gnome Tree Stronghold. So that was all of the helmets. Let's move on and talk briefly about the amulet slot. So for the amulet slots, starting off, we have the Amulet of Magic. Obviously, the clue is in the name here. This amulet gives you a +10 accuracy boost in the magic combat style. It gives 0 in anything else, and this is obviously just made by making a sapphire amulet and then enchanting it. So they're really easy to get hold of. They're super cheap. And they do give you the +10 magic bonus, so it's probably like a good starting place to go to use if you're new to the game and you can't afford the next amulet, which is going to be the Amulet of Glory. Now, the Amulet of Glory gives the exact same magic bonus as the Amulet of Magic, but then it also does give you +10 in all the other combat styles, as well as +3 in all the defensive stats, and some prayer bonus and a strength bonus for melee. So basically, if you're just wanting like the magic bonus, it is exactly the same, the Amulet of Magic and the Amulet of Glory, but obviously you do get a little bit more defensive bonuses and some other bonuses with the Amulet of Glory, so I would upgrade to the Amulet of Glory if you can get yourself one. Obviously, Dragonstone's a little bit harder to get hold of than Sapphires, so the Glory is a lot more expensive than the Amulet of Magic. But if you just want, straight up just magic bonus, then it is identical to the Amulet of Magic in that regard. And then obviously the Amulet of Fury doesn't come out until October 2005, but this will also give a plus 10 magic attack bonus, also plus 10 in all the other ones, but then it does give a plus 15 in all defensive bonuses, as well as a plus 5 prayer bonus. So obviously, all three amulets here basically give the exact same magic attack bonus, but you're upgrading to the Glory and then eventually the Amulet of Fury, when that comes out, are going to be beneficial for you because you do get to take advantage of all of those defensive bonuses. So not much to talk about with these amulet slots. The Amulet of Magic, Amulet of Glory, Amulet of Fury all have the same magic attack bonus, but you'll just get better stats in the defensive bonuses as you upgrade through those. That's going to move us on to the cape slot here. Now, obviously, at the moment, there is the Legends Cape, which does give a plus 7 in all defensive styles, but it doesn't give any attack bonuses at all. And that's why the Cape of Legends is not going to be the best in slot for Magic. I know in the ranged and the melee guide, it's like pretty good for what we have at the moment, but we do actually have access to the God Capes. So the Saradomin, the Guthix, and the Zamorak God Capes. Obviously, you have to do the Mage Arena mini quest, which does require level 60 magic to do, and what you'll need to do is basically go to the Mage Bank place and you speak to Collodion, and he will teleport you into the Mage Arena, and you have to kill him in all of his forms. So he has a few different forms. So he has his human form, his ogre form, his spider form, a ghost form, and a demon form, and you have to go through and kill each of these. If you manage to get through all of this, then you will be able to get teleported back into the Mage Bank and you'll go through the pool to get the cape. Just a quick note here that I think technically all of these can be safe spotted, but the forms that are not larger than one tile are a lot harder to catch on one of the safe spots in the arena, but you can get them all trapped on the skeletons that are on the floor, and you'll need to use magic only. You can't bring any other combat styles, but when you have killed Collodion, you get to go through the pool in the Mage Bank area. You pray at one of the statues and you can get the Mage Cape. Now, the God Capes are really nice. They have a plus 10 magic attack bonus, as well as a plus 10 magic defense bonus. They do also give a plus 1 to stab and slash defense and a plus 2 to crush defense, but other than that, it's mainly just for the magic attack and defensive bonuses. So a plus 10 magic attack bonus is really nice, considering all the other capes don't really give you very much. Obviously, you do have things like the skill capes coming out in October 2006. They don't give any attack bonuses though. That's all just defensive, a plus 9 in all the defensive stats for the skill capes, plus 4 prayer if they are trimmed on top of that. And then obviously the Fire Cape does come out in October 2005 as well, but this only gives a plus 1 magic attack bonus. You do get plus 11 in all the defensive bonuses, but I think the Mage Arena God Capes are just going to be best in slot for Magic basically forever. I don't think there's anything that comes out that really changes that. Obviously, in old school, you do have the ability to upgrade your God Capes into the Mage Capes 2, or whatever they're called, the Imbued Capes, I think they're called. Obviously, that came out in old school. That will not be available to us. So yeah, the God Capes are going to be the best in slot for Magic. Let me know in the comments which one you like, the Saradomin, Guthix, or Zamorak. Which one do you like best? But that is going to be it for cape slots. Going to take us on to the body slot next. So for the body slots, we have the wizard robes. Just like the hats, again, there is a blue one and a black one. And so the blue robe you can get, again, from just killing normal wizards, and the black one you can get from the dark wizards. And these are basically, well, I say basically, these are exactly the same. They both give you a plus 3 magic attack and a plus 3 magic defense bonus. Obviously, we already have these in the game, so a lot of people have been using them. Not much else to say. Other than, I guess we can compare them to the next one, which is going to be the Zamorak robe top. Now, this one is a little bit different. So, where the wizard robe top has a plus 3 attack and plus 3 defense in Magic, the Zamorak robe top actually has a plus 2 attack in Magic attack, but it has a plus 3 in Magic defense. But to make up for that minus 1 Magic attack bonus, you do get a plus 3 prayer bonus, which is kind of nice. These obviously can be gotten from the Disciples of Iban in the Underground Pass, or you can actually get them as a drop from the Zamorak wizards that spawn when you do clue scrolls as well. So this one, you're basically, it's the same as the wizard top, but you're trading out plus 1 magic attack bonus for a plus 3 prayer bonus. So this is basically, I think, what most people have been using over the wizard's top. And I think they're pretty good. I think that prayer bonus is worth it depending on what you're killing. Although then again, if you are using like a safe spot to use magic with, then maybe it's not too useful. But I think people tend to just use the full Zamorak robe set in conjunction with one another. But other than the Zamorak top, we can move on to the Ghostly robe top. Now, obviously, this one isn't in the game just yet. It gets added in July 2005, and just like the Ghostly hood, you get it after doing the Curse of the Empty Lord mini quest. And this one's kind of nice. It just straight up gives you a +5 in attack and defense for magic. Not much else to say. Obviously, a step up from the current robes that we have, being the Zamorak and the Wizard robe tops. So this is pretty nice. Also, just looks really cool when you've got the whole set on. I know I said it for the hood, but I really do like how this set looks. I remember as a kid seeing people walking around being like ghosts, and I was like, whoa, that's so cool. I need to get my hands on one of those. But other than the Ghostly robe top, we can move on and talk about the Mystic robe top. Now, this didn't get added until January 2005, so we will actually get this before the Ghostly top, which kind of makes it useless, the Ghostly robe top useless, unless you are like a 1 defense pure. So the Mystic robe top coming in here with a +20 attack and defense in magic. Very, very nice. That is a significant jump up from all of the other ones that we've spoken about so far. And this can be bought from the Magic Guild store in the Wizards Guild. So that's how you're going to be able to get it. I think they sell them for about 120k GP, so it is quite an expensive item, but I guess for the +20 magic attack and defense bonuses, it probably is worth that price. The light and the dark robe tops do also get added at the same time. The light robe top you'll be able to get from killing Kurasks, and the dark mystic robe top you'll be able to get from killing gargoyles. You do need level 40 magic and level 20 defense to wear Mystic, so obviously that's why the Ghostly robe top is just the 1 defense requirement. There's basically no requirement for these at all, I don't think. So the Mystic robe top, obviously a lot better, but if you're a 1 defense pure, then you're not going to be able to equip this, unfortunately. But super iconic robe set for magic, the Mystic robe top. Really looking forward to using that. I think this is probably going to be the one that we'll see the majority of people walking around in until people start getting Arims from Barrows drops. But we'll move on from the Mystic robe top, and we are going to talk about the Enchanted top. Not much to say on this one other than it is basically identical to a Mystic robe top. Again, it gives you the +20 attack and +20 defense in the magic style. And the only way to get hold of these is from a hard clue scroll. Again, this requires level 20 defense and 40 magic to wear, just like the Mystic top. So it's basically just Mystic, but it looks different. And again, I think Enchanted looks really, really cool. I like how the symbol on the chest piece of this. So if you can get your hands on this, it's going to look super cool. It's going to be a massive flex. But if you can't get your hands on this, then Mystic will do just fine. After that, we can talk about the Infinity top. Now, the Infinity top doesn't get added until January 2006, and obviously you get this again from the Mage Training Arena. To be able to buy this, you would need 400 telekinetic pizzazz points. It sounds weird saying pizzazz after playing Lost City. 450 alchemist points, 4,000 enchantment points, and 400 graveyard points. And again, just like the hat, you just go through the different mini games to be able to do that. Now, the Infinity robe top does have a 50 magic requirement as well as a 25 defense requirement. So the defense requirement a little bit higher than it is for the Mystic or the Enchanted. But at this, I mean, I don't see anyone like not getting the extra 5 defense for it. But it's a little bit better than Mystic and Enchanted, not by much. You get a +22 magic attack and a +22 magic defense bonus, so it is really nice. It is a slight upgrade on the Mystic and the Enchanted. On the old school wiki, it does say that it boosts your magic damage by 1%. Again, that was added in May 2024, so that is not going to be the case when it gets released in the 06 update, but a long wait for this anyway, so I think by the time it comes out, we're going to have better options out there available to us. But that is the Infinity top. Again, looks really cool. A bit of a pain in the ass to actually get hold of, to be honest. I really don't like the Mage Training Arena, but you know, having the whole set is a flex. So Infinity robe top, pretty nice. That's going to take us on to the Skeletal top, and the Skeletal top, as you might imagine, is from the Fremennik update, this one in August 2005, and basically this has a defense level requirement of 40, as well as a magic level requirement of 40 as well. You also need to have completed the Fremennik Trials quest, and this one looks pretty cool. This one is where it gets a little bit different, so you only get a +8 magic attack bonus from this, so it's not great, but you do get the 15 magic defense bonus, which is okay, but again, not as good as Mystic. but you do get some melee defensive stats with this. So you get a plus 35 stab, plus 25 slash, and plus 42 crush defensive bonuses, which is pretty nice considering, if you compare it to any of the other robes, they all just give 0 across the board in all the other defensive stats. So, if you're going to be like using this somewhere where you might be getting hit a lot more, I guess you can weigh up whether you want to sacrifice like 12 magic attack bonus for some decent defensive bonuses. I'm not sure if that's worth it. Maybe if you're like hybriding somewhere, then it could be worth it. I don't think it is, but I guess we'll see if anyone can come up with some like interesting spots to be able to use this and actually, make the most out of this this armor piece. You can get this by taking 3 Dagonoth hide and a ribcage piece, as well as 10,000 GP to Peer the Seer. And the ribcage piece, obviously, you just get it from killing those weird walrus things. I'm not even going to try and attempt to say it again. But that's how you get that. I think they are also a very rare drop from Dagonoth Prime when the actual Dagonoth Kings come out. But obviously, the DKs themselves don't come out until November 2005. So the only way you'll be able to get them on release, I believe, is by taking those sort of materials to Peer the Seer in Relica. That's going to move us on to the split bark body next. And the split bark body, it's sort of in the same vein as the skeletal one. Again, you have a plus 10 magic attack bonus, so that is a little bit of an improvement over the skeletal top. And you have a plus 15 defensive bonus, which is exactly the same as the skeletal top. And then the defensive bonuses for melee that you get with this as well are pretty similar. So the split bark gives 36 stab defense bonus, which is 1 more than the skeletal top. It gives 26 slash defense bonus, which again is 1 more than the skeletal top. And it gives 42 crush defense bonus, which is exactly the same as the skeletal top. So it's pretty much the same as the skeletal top, with a few small increases here and there. Now, this one, again, 40 magic, 40 defense required to be able to equip this. And again, you can make this by taking 4 bark and 4 fine cloth to Wizard Jalarast, as well as 37,000 coins. You can also make this yourself with level 62 crafting with a needle and thread and those same materials. So again, it's one of those things where, do you want to trade off a bigger magic attack bonus for some melee defensive stats? I guess we'll see if people can come up with any good places to use that. I'm not convinced it's going to be that useful, but I am very excited to see people actually walking around wearing split bark. I feel for the most part, people are just going to stick with the Mystic, to be honest. But, maybe some edge use cases for those defensive bonuses might be nice to see. And that's going to take us on to the Lunar Torso as well. Now, this one obviously doesn't come out until July 2006, so this is a long, long way off, and I don't think anyone's going to bother using this, but it does require level 65 magic and level 40 defense, as well as the Lunar Diplomacy quest, because this is when you sort of go through and make it with a Suqua leather and some thread. And this gives a plus 10 magic attack bonus, and it gives plus 34 stab defense, 22 slash defense, and 40 crush defense, as well as 12 magic defense. So it's like basically like the skeletal top, the split bark, and the Lunar Torso are all kind of like very similar. There's not much differentiation between them all. I think the split bark body is probably like still better than the Lunar Torso. So I don't really see anyone using this, and it's so far into the future that I don't really think it matters. So I guess we'll move swiftly on. It looks kind of cool though. And that's finally going to bring us on to the Arim's robe top. Now, obviously, Arim's coming out with Barrows, May 2005, very nice. And this one's going to give you a big plus 30 magic attack bonus and plus 30 magic defense bonus, as well as 52 stab defense, 37 slash defense, and 63 crush defense. So this is like just all round very, very nice. So you get the biggest magic attack bonus out of all the robes from the Arim's robe top. That's going to be a plus 10 improvement over the Mystic. And then you also get the like melee defense bonuses that you would get from like a split bark body or something like that, and the defensive bonuses are like even higher on the Arim's robe top. So overall, a very, very nice robe top. It's just going to be best in slot. It comes out not too far away. Again, on the old school wiki, it does say it gives a 1% magic damage bonus. That is not the case. That was added in May 2024, so you're not going to be able to see that, but overall it's just going to be the best, and it looks really cool. It's iconic. Everyone's going to be wanting to get their hands on the Arim's robe top. But May 2005, you'll be waiting for that. Obviously, Mystic comes out in January 05, so you'll get the Mystic. You get your hands on the Mystic a little bit earlier than you will on the Arim's. But when Arim's comes out, that is going to be the mage top of choice. So yeah, that's going to be all of the robe tops wrapped up there, guys. We're going to move on quickly to the robe bottoms, or the leg slot. I think it's going to be pretty much the same, but we'll just run through them. So to kick off the leg slot, I thought I would mention an item that is completely useless, but it does kind of tie in with what we were talking about with the tops. So that is going to be the blue skirt. This is a useless item. It gives +0 in absolutely everything. It costs 2 GP from Thalissa's Fine Clothes in Varrock, and there's really no reason to use it. I think the reason people have been buying them is just to like match it up with the blue wizard robe top. So you can buy one of these if you care about the fashionscape, I guess, but there's no bonuses, so you really don't need to. So yeah, we're going to move on swiftly from the blue skirt, and we're going to talk about the Zamorak Monk bottom. Now this one gives a +2 in magic attack bonus and +3 in magic defense bonus, and again you get the +3 prayer bonus from this as well. So there is literally no reason why you wouldn't want to wear this. Like, the blue skirt is useless, so just get one of these. And again, these are from the Disciples of Iban, or from the Zamorak wizard that spawns from Clue Scrolls. So you know, that this is kind of like, I think, the only thing you can really wear in the game at the moment on the leg slot that is usable for magic. So yeah, that's all we currently have. Let's move on to what else is going to come out into the game. Or before we do, actually, I should just mention, I know for the head slot we had the gnome hats, and they were actually better than the wizard hats. The thing is, the gnome robe top and robe bottom, it is not the case for those. They don't give any magic attack bonuses or defensive bonuses. They give like a tiny bit of slash and crush defense, but they are not the same as the gnome hats that actually give magic stuff. So don't bother with the gnome robes. But yeah, let's move on and talk about the ghostly robe bottom. Again, as the robe top came out in July 2005, a +4 magic attack and defense bonus. So, you know, that is a step up from the Zami robes. Nice to have. Again, Curse of the Empty Lord mini quest for this. Good for 1 defense pures. Looks super cool. But July 2005, there's going to be better options coming out before we get our hands on the ghostly robe set. So that's going to take us on to the Mystic robe bottom. Obviously, January 2005. And this requires 40 magic and 20 defense to wear, just the same as the robe top does. And yeah, just it's a big step up. You know, we're going from a +2 and 3 or 4 from the ghostly robes or the Zamorak robes to the Mystic, giving a +15 in each. So that's a massive increase. And these, obviously, the blue robes, then you can buy from the Wizards Guild for 80,000 GP. And the Mystic Light and the Mystic Dark bottoms do also come out at the same time. The Mystic Light bottoms you can get from Turoths, and the Dark bottoms you can get from Abhorrent Spectres. So, you know, this is going to be the bread and butter for most people training mage. It's iconic for a reason. It's like been useful in RuneScape for a very long time. So the Mystic robe bottom is going to be what most people are going to be wearing. And again, similar to the robe tops, the Enchanted robe bottom, again, exactly the same as the Mystic one. 20 defense, 40 magic to wear them. Get them from hard Clue Scrolls, and again, just gives a +15 in magic attack and magic defense. Doesn't come out until February 2006 though, so it is a long wait until we actually get our hands on the Enchanted robes, but they just look so cool. I really do want to get a set when they finally get added into the game. But again, not much else to add there. We are going to mention the Infinity bottoms as well. You can probably see a pattern emerging here. And these come out in January 2006. Again, a long wait for this, but the Mage Training Arena minigame, you would need to get 450 telekinetic points, 500 Alchemist, 5,000 enchantment, and 450 graveyard points. And again, this requires level 50 magic and 25 defense to wear. So a small +5 defense requirement increase over the Mystic robes. But this is kind of nice. They give a +17 magic attack and +17 magic defense bonus. So they do have a little bit of an increase over the Mystic. That's like a +2 increase, sorry, on the Infinity robes. So they look super cool. They're nice. They're a bit of a flex. But again, January 06, quite a long wait. So there's going to be better options coming out, and you can probably guess what they're going to be by this point. But that takes us up to the weird leg slots, as I'm going to start calling them, the weird slots, where you sort of have to take a nerf to your magic attack bonus, but you get some extra melee defense bonuses. So we're going to obviously talk about the skeletal bottoms here. The skeletal bottoms requiring level 40 defense and 40 magic, as well as, again, the Fremenite Trials quest to be able to equip them. And these ones give you a +6 magic attack bonus, a +10 magic defense bonus, and then for the melee defense bonuses, you get +22 stab, plus 20 slash, and plus 24 crush. And again, I'm not going to sort of reiterate this whole thing all over again, but it's basically just trading off magic attack for melee defense. Will we find a use for those? I'm not sure. August 2005 for these ones. And again, you can get them by bringing 2 Dagonoth hides, as well as a fibula piece, which again is dropped from the Walrus things, and 7.5k GP to Peer the Seer to make yourselves one of those. And they do also get dropped by Dagonoth Prime later on in 2005 when DKs get released. That's going to move us on to, you guessed it, Split Bark Legs. Split Bark Legs, 40 magic, 40 defense required to equip those. And these come out in October 2004. So we will get them like this year, hopefully. And these are, again, one of those ones where you make a trade-off. You get a plus 7 magic attack bonus, a plus 10 magic defense bonus. But you do get that 22 stab, 20 slash, and 25 crush defensive bonuses. You know, that's the decision you've got to make. Is it going to be worth it? I mean, to be fair, like, it will be worth it when they first come out because we won't have Mystic in the game just yet. And so a plus 7 magic attack bonus is still going to be like the highest bonus that we can get our hands on. I should have mentioned that for the top as well, actually. So even for the top, like when it first gets released in 2004scape, it will be the best in slot items to wear. But obviously, as soon as Mystic comes out, then this becomes kind of irrelevant again. But if you did want to make these, you would need to bring 3 bark and 3 fine cloth to Wizard Jalarast, or you could make them yourself with a needle and thread requiring level 62 crafting. And again, we can mention them briefly, but the Lunar Legs, kind of useless to be honest. Like July 2006, that's a very long way off. 65 magic required, 40 defense required, and Lunar Diplomacy. They give a plus 7 magic attack bonus and a plus 9 magic defense bonus, as well as plus 20 stab, 19 slash, and 23 crush defenses. And you can make this with a Suitquire leather in Lunar Diplomacy. It's going to require 61 crafting. Not really worth using, in my opinion. I mean, even the defensive bonuses are like worse than the Split Bark Legs. So I don't really see a reason to use these at all. I think they're kind of dead content. They look all right, but yeah, I mean, like, maybe if it's just like easier to get hold of them and like use them as like return sets for PKing with, maybe, but I think that's a bit of a stretch. I don't think anyone's going to be using these. But I tell you what people will be using, and that is going to be the Ahrim's Robe Skirt, guys. Yes, you guessed it. Obviously, May 2005 gets released with Barrows. Does require level 70 defense and level 70 magic, just like the top and the hood do. And this is going to be very, very nice. A plus 22 magic attack bonus and a plus 22 magic defense bonus, as well as a 33 stab, 30 slash, and 36 crush defense. It's just super good. It's super tanky. Out of all the robes, it's the tankiest. And out of all the robes, it gives the best magic attack bonus. So it is just best in slot. There is no argument to be made here, as far as I'm aware. But yeah, super nice. Again, Old School Wiki says 1% damage increase. That's not going to happen. That was May 2024 in Old School. But other than that, it is just going to be Ahrim's takes the crown, I guess. I think that's what it's going to be. Maybe you want to switch in a Farseer helm there at some point. But I mean, you don't need to. You could just use the full set of Ahrim's if you really wanted to, I guess. But that's going to cover all of the leg slots. We're going to move on next, and we're going to talk about the glove slot. So for the glove slot, obviously we don't have like just wizard gloves to go along with the robe top and the hat, just as the same way we don't have the wizard robe bottom, we just have a blue skirt. So there's a few less options here, but we're going to go through, and I think just before we get into all the ones that actually give you like magic bonuses and things, I do just want to take a moment to talk about the Chaos Gauntlets. Now, the Chaos Gauntlets obviously you get from the Family Crest quest. I have a video on all of the gauntlets that you can get from that quest, because you can only pick one of them at the moment. There will be an update later on in 2005 that lets you switch between them, but until then you're kind of locked in to the choice you make. So Chaos Gauntlets are one of those choices. They don't give any magic attack or defense bonus. They are identical to Clank's Gauntlets, identical to the Cooking and the Goldsmithing Gauntlets as well, stats-wise. So they do give you like a little bit of melee defense bonuses. But the main reason you would pick these is basically it brings the max hit of the bolt spells basically up to be on par with the blast spells. So it just lets you basically train with bolt spells and use chaos runes instead of having to buy all the death runes. So it's really just a bit of a money saver. There's no real other benefit to them other than that. I would say probably don't use these. I'm not going to pick them. I would pick Goldsmith or Cooking Gauntlets myself personally, but you know, pick whichever one you think you're going to have the most fun with. I thought it would be weird to like not include these in the best in slot magic guide, but I just don't think they're really worth it. Literally, it just saves you money, and the other ones are way more useful, but you could pick them as a glove slot, and they are currently the only sort of quote-unquote magic gloves that we have access to, even though they don't actually give any magic stats at all. But that's the Chaos Gauntlets out of the way with. Let's move on to some actual gloves that give you magic bonuses, and we're going to start out with the Ghostly Gloves. So the Ghostly Gloves, again, doesn't come out until July 2005, and the Curse of the Empty Lord mini quest obviously is where you get these again, and these just give you a +2 in magic attack and +2 in magic defense. That's it. That's all they do. They're cool. Moving on, the Mystic Gloves. The Mystic Gloves obviously come out in January 05, so we will get them before the Ghostly Gloves, but they do have, just like the robes do, they have a 40 magic and 20 defense requirement to wear, so the Ghostly Gloves obviously going to be good for 1 defense pures. If you're not a 1 defense pure, Mystic Gloves are going to be the way to go. And these give a +3 magic attack and +3 magic defensive bonus, so a +1 over the Ghostly Gloves. And obviously the light and dark versions do come out at the same time as well. You can get the light versions from Rock Slugs, and you can get the dark versions from Banshees. After that, the Infinity Gloves. Again, these come from the Mage Training Arena. They come out in January 2006, so a little bit into the future. A 50 magic and 25 defense requirement is needed for these gloves, and you can get them from the Mage Training Arena with 175 telekinetic points, 225 alchemist points, 1,500 enchantment points, and 175 graveyard points. Now, a +5 magic attack and +5 magic defense bonus is definitely very nice. Obviously, it's a +2 improvement to the Mystic Gloves, so when these do come out, probably worth your time trying to get hold of them. I think they're probably going to be best in slot for quite a while, but we'll move on and talk about some of the other options that are going to be coming out as well. So the Skeletal Gloves come out August 2005. These are trash. If you've seen the other videos about melee and ranged, you'll notice that the glove slots for like the Dagonoth King armor sets are always just kind of useless. They don't require anything to equip, no quest or anything like that. They give absolutely 0 everything and attack bonuses, and they give a +1/+2 defense in +1/+2 crush defense bonus. Other than that, absolutely nothing. You get them as a drop from the Walrus things. Don't use these; they're trash. The Split Bark Gauntlets, though. October 2004 for these as well. Level 40 magic and level 40 defense required to wear them. And these are kind of nice. They give a +2 magic attack and +2 magic defensive bonus. So they're basically the same as Ghostly Gloves. But they do give some melee defensive bonuses as well. So you get a +3 stab, a +2 slash, and a +4 crush bonus. So if you've got the defense level to wear these, they are going to be best in slot. Obviously, October 2004 is not that far away compared to all of the other gloves that we've spoken about. So these will be good when we get hold of them, and you'll be able to get them by bringing 1 bark and 1 fine cloth to Wizard Jalarast, or making them with a needle and thread with level 60 crafting. So Split Bark Gloves, very nice until they're not so nice anymore and they become a bit irrelevant in the future. But there's a surprise contender here. And this is going to be the Lunar Gloves. So, again, don't come out until July 2006, so a long way off. 65 magic required, level 40 defense required, and Lunar Diplomacy, obviously. But these are kind of interesting because they do give a +4 magic attack bonus and a +2 magic defense bonus, as well as a +2 stab, +1 slash, and +1 crush defense. So these are, like, interesting because a +4 magic attack bonus is 1 less than Infinity. It is 1 more than Mystic, though. So this is like the first time where the Lunar equipment is actually better than Mystic. So maybe if you are using Mystic, you would want to use the Lunar Gloves when they come out and switch out those Mystic Gloves for these ones, because they are a little bit better. Obviously, you need to make them with a suit qual level. It does require level 61 crafting, but I was kind of surprised when I saw, oh my god, there's actually a piece of Lunar equipment that isn't completely dead on arrival. Although you'd think that, wouldn't you? It kind of will be dead on arrival because we're going to mention Barrow's Gloves. These come out in March 2006, so these come out before Lunar Gloves, and these are just going to be best in slot. So these give a +6 magic attack defense, a +6 magic attack and +6 magic defense bonus. So they are just best in slot versus everything. And on top of that, you're getting a +12 in all of the other defensive bonuses across the board and all the other offensive bonuses across the board. as well as a plus 12 strength bonus if you want to switch to melee at any point. These are just going to be best in slot gloves, basically forever. There's a reason why Barra's gloves are so iconic. Obviously, these things cost 130k, and you need to do the entire recipe for Disaster Quest to be able to get them. So obviously, not going to be able to wear these at level 1 defense. But for anyone that is not a 1 defense pure, these, or like any kind of like low defense pure, these are just going to wipe the floor with all the other glove options. So I guess it's kind of going to be a case of use split bark gloves when they come out, then switch to mystic gloves, and then infinity gloves, and then Barra's gloves, and there's not really a need for the lunar gloves. Obviously, if you don't want to like, if you're going to be PKing or something, and you don't want to risk Barra's gloves every time because it's 130k if you lose them, maybe lunar gloves are like a good substitute there. But on the whole, Barra's gloves are just so much stronger than anything else. So yeah, that is going to be all of the glove slot options that I can find. And we're going to move on and talk about the boot slot. So starting us off with the boot slots, we only really have one boot in the game that can be used for magic. I guess you could use like the boots of lightness, but it doesn't give you any stats. It's just for helping you run around. But the only boot slot we have at the moment for magic is the wizard boots, obviously obtained from the easy clue scrolls at the moment. They were moved from the medium to easy, if you weren't aware. And these require level 20 magic to wear. And they are pretty good. They give a plus 4/4 in magic attack and defense. So I think these are basically going to be best in slot, other than potentially one boot slot that comes out in the future. So we'll probably just be comparing all the other boots to this. We could just keep this very short and say these are the only ones you're going to need. But they are a clue scroll reward that are pretty rare. So it's like you might not actually be able to get your hands on them. But yeah, wizard boots, very, very nice, very, very good. Use them if you can get them. But other than that, we're going to talk about the ghostly boots. Now, again, July 2005, Curse of the Empty Lord mini quest. I sound like a broken record here. We talked about all the ghostly things. They're all basically the same. And just one defense requirement for this, so really good for pures. A plus 2/2 for magic attack and magic defense bonuses is all you're going to get from these boots. But other than that, like, they're pretty decent. July 2005, though, you're going to get access to other things before these. So again, we're going to talk about Mystic Boots here. 40 magic, 20 defense, come out in January 2005. They're very nice. They give a plus 3/3 to magic attack and magic defense, which is a plus 1 over the ghostly boots. And obviously the light and dark versions do come out at the same time. The light mystic boots you can get from the cockatrice, and the dark ones you can get from infernal mages. Obviously, not much else to say about these. A plus 3/3 is only one worse than the wizard boots. So if you can't get your hand on wizard boots, when you get to January 05, Mystic Boots are probably going to be the ones that everyone's going to be using, I would say, unless you are, under 20 defense, in which case you'd be using the ghostly boots. There are skeletal boots, but again, just like the gloves, these are absolutely trash. Do not use them. All they do is give you a +1 slash +1 crush defense bonus. That is literally it. No other reason to use these. I mean, I say no other reason. There is no reason to use these. They look awful. The stats are awful. August 2005, if you really care about them, and they get dropped from the the walruses, okay? They get dropped by the magic walruses. Split bar boots are the next ones we're going to talk about. Again, October 2004. These are a little interesting. So they do give a +2 magic attack bonus, +2 magic defense bonus. They do give some defense bonuses. So +3 stab, +2 slash, +4 crush. Probably not really worth it, though. I would say stick to the other boots that just give you more magic attack bonus. I don't think a +3 stab defense bonus is really going to do much for you at the end of the day. And if you're using magic, you're probably safe spotting anyway. So don't really see anyone using these. I mean, like, just I would rather try and grind out trying to get wizard boots, I think. And if you try and do that, you'll probably get hold of them before October 2004 update comes out anyway. But yeah, 40 magic, 40 defense to wear them, and if you want to make them, you can bring 1 bark and 1 fine cloth to Wizard Jalarast, or make them yourself with a needle and thread with 60 crafting. Other than that, though, the Lunar Boots, now 65 magic, 40 defense requirement still, July 2006 still, and still kind of crap, I would say. A +2 magic attack, +2 magic defense, and then a +1 stab, +2 slash, +2 crush defense bonuses. It's just not really worth using, to be honest. Like, you can make them, they're cheap, I guess, but it's just why, like, July 2006, I don't know why. I don't know what they were thinking when they made the Lunar Armor set, honestly. They could have done something like that was a midpoint between some other things going on, and they just didn't really. They just kind of made them redundant. But lunar boots are there, I guess, if you want. But other than that, guys, we are going to talk about the Infinity Boots. Now, these will be best in slot. They give a +5 in magic attack and a +5 in magic defense, so they are actually better than the wizard boots, only by like a +1 in each, so it's kind of close. But these come out in January 2006, again from the Magic Training Arena, and you would need 120 telekinetic points, 120 alchemist points, 1,200 enchantment points, and 120 graveyard points for these. Now, these are pretty nice. I like them. They look cool. They're an iconic item. People always used to wear Infinity Boots no matter what other gear they were wearing for training Magic with. Obviously, there's no like Arim's boots or anything like that. So these are very, very nice. They're a little bit of a pain to get, but if you're just going for this one particular item for the Mage Training Arena rather than trying to get the entire robe set, these are not too bad. And I would say if you were going to go to the MTA place, the boots are probably the one that you're going to want to get, like, prioritize the most, I would say. 50 magic and 25 defense to equip, though. So obviously, if you are under 25 defense, those wizard boots are still going to be best in slot for you. But that's kind of all we have for the boot slots. There wasn't too many options here. Obviously, wizard boots we have currently, they are best in slot until Infinity Boots come out. So if you want to be sort of pedantic about it, there's only two real considerations. But I guess, you know, if wizard boots aren't the easiest things to get hold of, so ghostly boots for one defense pures, maybe if they can't get wizard boots, but obviously that's quite a way away. And then the mystic boots come out with Slayer in January 2005 are going to be like the midpoint before we get access to Infinity Boots, basically a year later. So that is all the boot slots. We're going to briefly cover the ring slots. There's not much to talk about here. So obviously we have the Ring of Recoil is good if you're PKing, and then the Ring of Wealth basically for everything else. That's all you really have access to at the moment. Technically, in July 2006, you will get access to the Lunar Ring from the Lunar Diplomacy quest. Now, this gives a +2 in magic attack and a +2 in magic defense, so it's like better than wearing a Ring of Wealth or a Ring of Recoil if you want straight up magic stats. So maybe this is one of the few times when lunar equipment is actually worth it. If not only because there is literally no competition for this at all. So that is an option. Although you're probably, again, not going to want to use this because before it even comes out, we get access to the Seer's Ring in November 2005 with the Dagannoth Kings. Now, the Seer's Ring is very nice. It cannot be imbued, just the same as the Archer's Ring or the Berserker Ring. There wasn't an ability to do that until much later on in the game. But you can get this as a drop from Dagannoth Prime at a rate of 1 in 128. And on the old school wiki, it does say it gives a +6, but that is actually incorrect. It was buffed in 2016. It actually only gives a +4 in magic attack and magic defense bonus, I believe. And it does also say it gives like a slight damage boost on the old school wiki. Again, that wasn't the case. That was added in May 2024. So essentially, you're looking at the Ring of Recoil if you're PKing, the Ring of Wealth for everything else. Eventually, we'll get the Seer's Ring in November 2005 with Dagannoth Kings. That'll be best in slot. And then you get access to the Lunar Ring, I guess, if you want to use a ring that gives some magic attack bonuses, but isn't like maybe as expensive as a Seer's Ring. I don't really see it happening, but there you go. That's basically all the ring slots covered. We're going to briefly cover the shield slot. There's not too many options, so let's get into that. So for shields, there's a couple of shields that kind of I would class as magic shields, but don't actually give any like magic attack bonuses. So we're just going to start with those, and then we'll move on to some more useful ones. So currently, at the moment, I believe the only real thing that we can use is an elemental shield. Now, the elemental shield obviously comes from the Elemental Workshop quest, and all it gives is a +6 magic defense bonus. That's kind of why I would class it as a magic shield, because the only stat it has is sort of tied to magic with a +6 defensive bonus. It's pretty nice. It's not the worst thing in the world, obviously. Obviously you could potentially use like the anti-dragon shield instead, which only gives a +2 magic defense, but it gives like +7 stab, +9 slash, +8 crush, and +8 range defense, which is like a bit tankier, you could say, depending on what you're trying to kill. The reason why the anti-dragon shield is like kind of good is because it gives +0 in all attack bonuses, but it doesn't give any minuses. So that's kind of why it's kind of nice. You can use it with magic no matter where you are, because it won't give you any minuses, and it does give you a little bit of extra defense. But the elemental shield, I would say, is more like a classic major shield, just because of that magic defense bonus. So kind of weigh up between the two which one you want to use. There's no real wrong answers there, I wouldn't say. We do get access to the Mind Shield, but not until October 2006, so this is honestly so long away, it's not really worth mentioning, but I thought I'd just pop it in here. You get it from Elemental Workshop 2, and it's the same as the Elemental Shield, only it gives a +9 magic defense instead of a +6, so we'll move swiftly on from that. Next up, though, there's a very interesting one here, is the Broodoo Shield. Now, the Broodoo Shield was released in August 2005. It requires level 25 defense and level 25 magic to wear, and you can get them from getting a combat tribal mask from killing the tribal men in the Taibo and Trio place, and you can use nails and snakeskin on it at 35 crafting, and you can turn it into like an equipable Broodoo shield. There are some different masks. There's there's a combat one, and then there's like a poison one, and there's another one. I'm just going to talk about the combat one here. So this gives a +3 magic attack bonus. So it's the first shield that we can see here that gives an actual magic attack bonus. It does give -7 ranged attack, if that matters to you at all, but it gives +5 magic defense, as well as a +10 stab, +10 slash, and a +15 crush defense bonuses, as well as a +5 prayer bonus. So this is actually a pretty nice shield for August 2005. Like, this is really not bad at all. I would say definitely worth going for if you're looking for a mage shield to use. Obviously, it gives like 1 less magic defense than the elemental shield, but other than that, it gives more melee defensive bonuses than the anti-dragon shield does. And it also has like a weird effect where it has like charges, and it can basically, whenever damage is taken, it has a 10% chance of draining your opponent's attack stat. So like, I don't think anyone ever really used it for that. Like, it's kind of a weird, very niche ability. Like, there's some kind of caveats to how it can work and stuff. I'm not going to get too deep into it. I'm just going to go off the raw stats here. Like, this is probably worth your time picking up in August 2005. It's got some nice stats, got a prayer bonus, good defensive bonuses for a shield, and a magic attack bonus. Like, what more do you want? And it's like pretty like easy to get hold of, I would say. Like, I mean, the masks, you can get them as a drop from the Broodoo victims. You've got to spawn them. Sorry, they're not from the tribal people. They're from the actual Broodoo victims that spawn when you're doing the minigame. But like, I don't think they're too hard to get hold of, and yeah, they've got nice stats. I would highly recommend them. Obviously, though, they do require that level 25 defense. So if you do not have 25 defense, if you're 1 defense pure, you might want to pick yourself up a God book in November of 2004. And obviously, you can pick which one you want. Obviously, we don't have access to the Book of War, Law, or Darkness, only the Holy, Unholy, and Book of Balance. The Holy Book obviously just gives a +8 in all defensive stats and a +0 in all offensive stats. The Unholy Book is the opposite. It gives +8 in all the attack bonuses, +0 in all the defensive bonuses, and the Book of Balance gives +4 across the board. All of these give a +5 prayer bonus as well, so it's pretty nice. Obviously, like, if you get yourselves the Unholy Book, that +8 magic attack bonus is super good for a shield, and you get the prayer bonus from it as well. Obviously, no defensive bonuses. You could mix things up a bit and go for the Holy or the Book of Balance if you wanted to, but I think the Unholy Book is kind of like the best one to go for, because that's quite nice to have a +8 magic attack bonus. Obviously, you do the Horror from the Deep quest to be able to get hold of the book, and then you need to get the pages from Clue Scrolls to actually fill the book to be able to use it. So this is going to be like not the easiest thing to like get a full book, a full God book, but if you can, then highly recommend. I would say probably recommend over the Broodoo Shield, but obviously until you can fill a whole book, the Broodoo Shield probably going to be pretty good. And obviously there's a bit of a time difference there, so you might be able to fill a God book before the Broodoo Shield even comes out. But if you can't for whatever reason, then Broodoo Shield will be a nice little substitute for that. Until finally, in January 2006. Is when we get access to the Mage's Book. Now, the Mage's Book, obviously, you can get this from the Mage Training Arena. It requires level 60 magic to wield, but I don't believe it has any defensive requirements or anything like that. So anyone can use this, and it does cost 500 telekinetic, 550 alchemist, 6,000 enchantment, and 500 graveyard points. Now, this one is a bit of a bitch to grind out, to be honest, but it does give you a whopping +15 magic attack and magic defense bonuses. So, like, it just kind of blows everything else out of the water, to be honest. Get one of these if you can. The old school wiki says it gives a 2% damage bonus, but that was, again, May 2024. That's not going to be in the game when it gets released. It is a little bit of a wait away, but it's just such a good shield slot item for Magic. It's just best in slot. Get one if you can. And I think we're going to wrap things up around there, guys. Now, I know there's some of you sat there going, wait a minute, we've not spoken about weapons or staffs or anything like that. What's going on? And I think the reason for that is basically that this video is now going to be over an hour long as it is. I don't want it to stretch on too long. And also some of the staffs that I'm going to talk about are actually tied to like specific spells. And if I'm going to talk about those spells, I'm going to want to talk about the other spells that are available, different max hits, spells that come out in the future, all sorts of things like that. So I think it makes sense to actually split this up into two parts. So this first part is going to be about all of the armor and stuff that you can wear. And then the second part, part two, is going to be about the different staffs and wands and stuff that's going to be available and the different spells that are going to be available as well. So I think we'll end this video here and we'll do a part two covering the weapons and the spells. I hope that's okay with you guys. But yeah, it's been going on for so long, this video. I swear these videos are getting longer, each one I make. But we're going to wrap the video up there, guys. I want to say a big thank you to everyone that has been watching the streams, watching the videos, leaving likes, comments, subscribing, all of that good stuff. We've recently passed 1.6k subs, so a big thank you to everyone that has subscribed for that as well. You're all amazing. A big shout out to the channel members. We're growing. I'm going to just shout everyone out. I don't know if I'll even be able to fit everyone on the screen this time, but big shout out to B-Dan the Man, Matthew J, Talaren, Dill, Gills, MSKN, Swifty, Albin, Barman, High Days, Mirth, Samurai LTD, Music, or Bjorn, Ori, Trauf, Wu-Tang, WTCL, Cloudy Days, The Immortal Wumbo, Media Mushroom, Azarus, 2004scape Addict, Pelican, Adam, Vokova, Nexi, Karsten, and Kyra. You're all awesome. Thank you so much for being a member. If you guys want to become a channel member as well, you get access to a bunch of emotes that you can use on the live stream chats. Just hit the join button. It should be underneath the video if you're interested in that. No pressure though, you don't have to do that if you don't want to. Other than that, I will just say that we are still continuing to stream every other day. The videos I know have started to slow down a little bit. I apologize for that. I think it's just going to be the way it's going to be. I'm getting a lot busier in real life right now, and it's hard to keep churning out content once I've covered some big topics already. There's big topics that are going to be coming out in the future that I will talk about as well, but I want to make the videos sort of like closer to the time when those updates come out. So expect more things like that sort of coming out in time. And I guess the only other thing I will mention as well is that we did run a quick poll. There was some people asking me if I would ever do any old school content on the channel. I know a lot of you guys are just here for 2004scape, so don't panic. You might have seen that recently we did do an old school stream where I made a fresh Iron Man account. I think we're sort of testing it out. If I continue to enjoy it and if the audience continues to enjoy it, we'll probably do like one stream a week where we play the old school Iron Man, but I don't see myself making any videos on it. The 04scape content isn't going anywhere either. That's going to be the majority focus on this channel. I don't want to alienate any of you guys, so don't panic if you've seen the old school stream. I'm not jumping ship or anything like that. It's just some extra content there for the people that were interested in it. But other than that, guys, I've rambled on far too long, as I always do. Thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you in the next video.